What do you see when you see American Indian art? You see the story of America.
I'm Nancy Strickland Chavis. I'm the director of the Museum of the Southeast American Indian on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. My Indigenous heritage certainly influences who I am as a curator because it is who I am. It is my entire being as a Native woman. It is how I hold space in this life. I was born with this insatiable passion for history. I mean, even as a little kid, inexplicably. I don't know why I cared so much about history, and it was like a driving force in my life. My own Native history. I was a little girl, and there was a man that was a weaver, and his name was Blind Cleveland. We were at this festival, and our family used to help take care of him when he would go to a festival in the park in Charlotte. And a man tried to shortchange him money, and Mr. Cleveland demanded his basket back. And this guy got really upset, and I'd never seen a dynamic like that before between a Native man and a non-Native man. And, you know, this was in the late 70s, and it kind of scared me. And I was so used to seeing our people be disenfranchised that because of that basket, because of that art, because there was something desirable that this man wanted, it created a level sort of field for both of them, for discussion, for power, for Blind Cleveland to say no, he didn't want to sell his basket. And that really stuck with me, right? If art can do that, what else can art do for our people? The way I incorporate experimentation and curation is I do like to push the boundaries on ways that the public experiences art in exhibitions, creating opportunities for the public to share their thoughts in different ways about what they're experiencing. I like putting genres of work together or different types of people together that maybe might not be curated in the same spaces for conversation, to kind of break up these sort of like boxes in a way that art sometimes gets put into. How does it really speak to emotions, to senses, to situations, to the modern world that we live in today? So thinking of ways to challenge the norms of curation are very exciting to me, and it's something I appreciate doing in my work. So when the North Carolina Museum of Art asked me to curate an exhibit, it was very intimidating. It was one of the first, I think the first American Indian exhibition that had ever taken place at the North Carolina Museum of Art. What I love the best about curiosity is how it informs what I call the curatorial spark, the idea. The inspiration for it to take shape and meaning really came from an unexpected place. I had taken a group of students to Town Creek Indian Mound Site, which is in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. Town Creek has a prolific pottery tradition there that goes back for thousands of years. I was standing along the Little River. This is something that I've done many times before. I noticed this beautiful vein of clay that was coming out of the side of the bluff that I had never noticed before. And it was this chalky white, and it looked almost like a streak of lightning that was coming down this red clay bank. So I just kind of took note of it, and I thought, I wonder if this is where the source of that clay came from for the pottery that was used at Town Creek. A couple hours later, we went to another museum that's down the road that one of my students was a docent. I walk into their American Indian gallery, and just before me in a case was probably one of the most exquisite pieces of pottery that I've ever seen in my life. And I knew in that moment that I was in the presence of greatness. I was in the presence of a master potter whose name had been lost to time. I just started asking, who were you? And who taught you this? How did you know the right temperature to fire such a large vessel that was very thin? I got these kind of flashes of vision in my mind of this woman at Town Creek making pottery. It just was clear as a bell, this is your exhibition to take shape and meaning. Because as Native peoples, when we have an idea, even in our minds, it's already given purpose and intent and meaning. And to give it shape brings it to life. The stories I aim to tell in American art, I think first and foremost, which is just a pin in this statement, is that American Indian art is American art. It does not have to be siloed in its own certain genre. It doesn't have to be curated in a way that is separate from everyone else. There's something magical that happens when a person engages with a piece of art, and all of a sudden it's not just myself and the audience that's in conversation. We're all in conversation together. The work of art itself, the artist, and you can see people change. And I think that my curatorial approach is, let me share with you who we are as Native people through this human experience, this human way that we understand and experience art. Because at the end of it, what the outcome is that we're all human beings. That's the power of art.